Welcome to the Balls Talk Sports NFL podcast, where I did not write an intro because, frankly, Victor, it's been a pretty long day.
Yeah.
What we're bringing you today is our predictions for Week 6 of the NFL season with a couple new wrinkles thrown in. Because we talk so frickin' much, we are on a time crunch. We're installing a timer on all the games except for our one, maybe two, depending on how we see the slate differently, games of the week. It's going to be 7 today. That feels a little short to me. We might move it up throughout the year.
Definitely will. We are on a definite time end, though, so that's why we got to make it a little bit shorter.
I wanted to do something cutesy like 2-minute drill or 4-minute offense, but all the football things are way too short for us to actually talk about the football game. So
Yeah.
I guess you got the middle 8, but the analytics say the middle 8 doesn't really matter in the first place. So
That's true. So we're just going to go based off vibes.
pretty much.
There we go.
That's how we do it every episode at
Yes.
the Balls Talk Sports podcast. Victor, you ready to get kinky?
Let's get kinky.
All right, so we had 3 trades this week, which is bizarre considering we're not even at the trade deadline yet. Just
Very weird.
a couple flash reactions to them. I think the one that just about everyone has heard at this point, the Cincinnati Bengals bring in Joe Flacco from the Cleveland Browns to save their season. The official terms of the deal: swap a day 3 draft picks, a 5th going to Cleveland for a 6th, and then Flacco. Give me your thoughts. Does this fix all the Bengals' problems?
No, but it's really funny that Joe Flacco, excuse me, it's really funny that Joe Flacco is collecting AFC North teams like Infinity Stones, but he refuses to go to the Steelers because he's a Raven at heart and always. I love that for him. It's great. For the Bengals side of the trade, they didn't have to give up much to get him. It will be better than Jake Browning, I think. Keyword there. I think it will, but I'm not quite sure. Didn't really move the needle much for me. It didn't really change my pick much.
I don't mind this for them. It feels like a very B to B minus trade for the Bengals because we know what Flacco looks like behind a bad offensive line. He started, 3 games before he got benched for a rookie. So he's obviously not going to save their season, but I do think he can huck the ball up to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins better than Jake Browning can.
He's going to take care of the football better, too.
Yes, because that's such an extraordinarily low bar. I
Yes.
still think he's going to get picked off a bunch, and I still think he's going to be probably in the bottom 5 of turnover-worthy play rate.
It's
But
not going to be in the bottom 1, I think.
he's not going to be the bottom 1. He gives you a chance. It's a 1 in 100 chance, but I think that's worth it when you have this Joe Burrow window, which, is not getting any longer. So every time you have an injury like this or a season where the defense kills you, you got to make a move. I don't hate it. It's a good trade for the Browns. All right, next up, we have the Ravens sending Odafe Owe and a 2027 7th to the LA Chargers in exchange for Loie Gilman and a 5th-round pick.
Yeah, I was surprised that Odafe Owe netted a little bit more than Gilman in this trade, but I guess it does make sense because the Chargers, everyone in the league knows they're desperate for pass rush help, and while Owe may not have lived up to his first-round draft stock, he is still a competent edge rusher at the very least, with some good athleticism. He can make plays. He's not just going to be a net negative for you as a pass rusher all the time, like most Chargers pass rushers are. It's Tuli Pelotu and a bunch of nobodies who cannot hit the passer. Jaden Daniels left Los Angeles relatively clean. And they really needed to make this trade, so it really made sense. I don't love giving up a Loie Gilman, but you do what you got to do.
I get it for the Chargers. That pass rush was absolutely painful. We'll talk about that when we talk about the Chargers matchup this week. But losing a pretty solid starting safety, not great. What I'm worried about is, does this essentially move Derwin James out of the nickel? Do you have to move him away from the box where he's a bigger presence? I mean, Derwin James has even created some nice plays as a blitzer this year. I mean, I think that's a similar phenomenon with the Ravens where you want to actually move Kyle Hamilton down into the nickel and then you can throw him at the quarterback every once in a while. It makes your defense more dynamic. These are two teams in really similar situations, actually, which is kind of funny that both of them were willing to make that swap, but I think it's fine on both sides. I understand it. I mean,
Yeah.
The Ravens were never going to re-sign Odafe Owe. Maybe they'll re-sign a Loie Gilman. I think the Ravens win if there is a winner here, but pretty neutral in my opinion.
I also think this shows us something about the Chargers. I think they do like R.J. Mickens quite a bit. I think that's why they're comfortable making this trade. He's going to slot into the Gilman role. He's played some snaps. He's looked solid. They're giving him more time. They think he'll be better than Gilman, and they can add away. That's solid.
A lot of decent rookie safeties this year.
Absolutely.
And then finally, we have the Browns acquiring Tyson Campbell from the Jaguars. This is easily the one that shocked me most. Campbell in a 7th-round pick for Greg Newsome in a 6th.
Player for player, basically. I mean, you don't see that often, and we saw it twice this week. And you don't see players as high profile as Campbell and Newsome. Not that they're necessarily super high profile, but decently enough that it's surprising to just see them one-for-one swap. I don't know. Like the Browns knew. I get it from the Browns' perspective. They knew they weren't going to pay Newsome. The cap figures look like they're paying Campbell less than $10 million a year over the next 2 years. They're saving a lot of money doing this and getting probably a better player, pound for pound, I'd say. I know Campbell hasn't been the same since he got hurt a year ago. He's still a good player, and you know it's in there somewhere. Newsome, he's just never really shown that. I'm a little befuddled about this trade from the Jaguars' perspective. I'm curious to see why you think they would do this.
I have no idea why they would do this. I understand the take that these are two players that could use changes of scenery, but I expected a higher compensation for Tyson Campbell. I mean, Greg Newsome was solid at times. I think his best year is probably his rookie season. He hasn't been a nightmare this year, but I don't know. It feels like this decreases the ceiling of a Jaguars defense that's showing some championship caliber stuff right now. I mean, that's going a little bit far, but I don't think anybody expected Jacksonville's defense to be the one carrying the brunt this season.
No, I mean, that defense has been exceptional, and at the very least, this will slightly disrupt chemistry among them. And its defense built so heavily around chemistry, guys slotting into positions right after the other guy leaves. These guys just kind of take it. It's like total football in soccer, but put it in football, in defense, and the run fit some of these times, and Campbell's been a part of that. So it just shakes things up, and I don't know if this is a defense you want to shake up. But I do believe in Campanile, and I think if he was okay with this trade, and I think if Cohen was okay with this trade, they've absolutely got a reason. So I'm excited to see how it works out. Maybe they'll bring something on Newsome we haven't seen yet.
Browns are on an absolute managerial roll.
Yeah.
I just want to say that. Good move after good move, dating back to last year's draft at least.
100%.
All right, and now something that I don't think we've ever done on a prediction show. We're going to talk about Thursday Night Football a little bit. I was shocked by last night's outcome, recording this on Friday. So we are fresh off of the New York Giants defeating the Philadelphia Eagles 34-17. And it didn't really feel like the Giants had a 17-point advantage, but I don't think there was ever a time where you felt solid about where the Eagles were at. This was a really solid first quarter to fourth quarter win for New York.
Yeah, I did have some trouble. I always like to pick. I pick Thursday Night Football before the game starts. We both do, but we don't have time to get the Thursday night game in. We don't have time to get the episode in before the Thursday night game, so we record Fridays. But I pick it before the game, and I'll be honest, this one was giving me some trouble because I've been, well, I mean, you guys haven't heard all of it, but I haven't been the biggest fan of how Philly's run their team so far and how this offense has looked, and I was worried that the Giants and that pass rush might give them some trouble. I still picked Philadelphia, but I noted this is going to be closer than people think. I was wrong. It was what people thought it would be, with the scores flipped. I did not expect that because I just thought, like you said, it was a complete team win for the Giants. I did not expect Philly to look like the inferior team for 4 quarters. I really just did not, and that's what they did. They had their moments, but this was a team that was undisciplined, sloppy all throughout the game. They just could not figure it out. They weren't getting the ball to their best players, and offensively, it looked stagnant. It looked boring, and defensively, just guys were getting beat. There wasn't enough pressure. There was too much time for Dart to do it. And Dart didn't play especially well last night. Was he? I mean, he was fine. He was better than you probably would have expected him to be. But it's not like he had this all-world I'm Jackson Dart game. Like you would, if you told me that 34-17, Jackson Dart beats Philadelphia 34-17 in Week 6, I would have said, okay, well, he just had his coming out party. I don't think this is really his coming out party. It was just they were more physical. They wanted it more. Cam Scadaboo wanted it more. Philly just got outclassed in a way we haven't really seen him get outclassed in a few years.
This outcome was definitely more shocking to me than it was to you. I thought the Eagles were going to run away with this one because I didn't think that the Giants' offense had a chance. Watching the tape on Jackson Dart's first few starts,
Not good.
it screamed they are going to lock in on the essence of this offense, which is essentially trying to get the ball out quickly to the flats, really simplify reads, a lot of QB run action, a lot of kind of just whipping around in the pocket, dropping the head to look at the rush, and then scrambling up the middle. That's kind of still what they did against Philadelphia, and it worked.
Gotcha.
I am still not sold on Jackson Dart. He's got arm talent. He's looked more accurate than I thought he would look. His ability to escape the rush, I think, has been better than I figured it would be, but going forward, I don't know on the Giants. I like how Cam Scatterbu has looked. He wasn't efficient for the majority of last night's game. You love the physicality that he brings. I'm not super high on the Giants. I am just embarrassed by the Eagles. It feels like almost everything that could have gone wrong for them has gone wrong. There were some factors here that I think were pretty foreseeable. I mean, the defensive line taking a step back. You lose some key players in the secondary from that Super Bowl run. But the offense looks as stagnant, like you said, as you could possibly imagine. I mean, they're trying to do some of the Kellen Moore stuff, pitching the ball to Saquon Barkley and getting him with lead blockers, hitting A.J. Brown occasionally on slant routes. But it's just without any of the trickery, without any of the deception, it's easy for defenses to tee off on. You're not effectively drawing up separation for your best players. Saquon Barkley hasn't been super impressive this season. I will go out and say that, but the way he's being utilized hasn't been super impressive either. I think the Eagles are going to get it together. The defensive line I still think looks solid. The front seven this year has been really impressive. Jahad Campbell looks like an absolute find for them, but they got stuff to clean up, and hopefully they wake up after this game.
Also, hopefully this means that we're not having to entertain the Jalen Hurts top 5 talks anymore.
Oh, thank
What
God.
a fucking summer, man. I cannot believe we had to endure that all summer. It's okay. The nightmare's over now. I like Jalen Hurts. He's just not on that level.
Don't worry, he'll go on a run by the
Yep.
end of the year on a really talented roster, and we'll be exactly back to where we started.
This is just a perfect example of a bad team on a good night in the NFL will beat a good team on a bad night. And I do think the Eagles are a good team, but they are not playing well right now. And even if you are a talented team, you have to bring it all together. It's a team sport, and they just haven't been able to do it yet. They've gotten lucky their first 4 games. They go against Denver. Denver breaks them, and they have not been able to recover.
One more thing I will say, they didn't have Jalen Carter. They lost Quinyon Mitchell early. You could feel that Adoree Jackson and Kelly Ringo were getting gone at, and that was ugly.
All right. Let's get into the predictions now. We got
All right.
about 90 to 100 minutes to get through all of these.
Let me set a 7-minute timer real quick. All right, so we have 2 games of the week this week. Mine is Seattle-Jacksonville.
And I
Yours
think-
is 49ers-Buccaneers.
And I think the official game of the week will be Seattle-Jacksonville because I only barely picked 49ers-Tampa over it because I figured you would pick Seattle-Jacksonville, and I think that's just as good. So let's make that the official game of the week, the one we put up on all the socials. But Tampa Bay-San Francisco, also my game of the week.
All right, so Seahawks at Jaguars. I do want to start with the injury report on this one. It's not a huge deal, but it's looking like the Seahawks are going to be down Devin Witherspoon and Julian Love.
Yeah.
And when you look at how the Jaguars want to play, it's going to be interesting to see how much that matters. Where I want to start is with Brian Thomas Jr., who struggled tremendously over the first few weeks of the season. I mean, you didn't feel safe throwing him the football because you didn't know if he was going to get bullied off his route and if he was going to get intercepted by an overhang player. You didn't know if he was going to bat it into the air and it was going to get intercepted. The strength through contact absolutely was not there. It got incrementally better, and then last night against the Chiefs, last week against the Chiefs, I think he only made 4 catches. They were 4 big catches. He had one to borderline ice the game toward the end. I'm trying to remember exactly how that script went, but I think you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It was a huge catch for a first down up the sidelines. May have even been tipped by a defensive back. It wasn't really a contested catch, but it was a catch in traffic, showing off the focus. And what I want to see is the Jaguars being able to attack that short to intermediate area with consistency, because that's been a nightmare. They have been a team that's really lacking the chemistry on offense. And if they can come out and hang 35-ish points on a Seattle defense, that would be huge for them. The problem is I think they're going to have to, because I think the Seahawks are a really high-octane offense as well. Sam Darnold has been absolutely on fire. I'm not even going to make it a question anymore. I think he is a franchise quarterback. You see the pocket presence, you see the arm talent, you see the accuracy, you see the clutch. This is a really good Jacksonville defense. I think that they're beatable, and I think this one's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I that's the tough thing with this game is it could go so many different ways. It could be a shootout. but it could be 24-21 type game where it's like a Seattle's defense is really good, but it really worries me how they looked against Tampa Bay without Witherspoon, without Love, two of probably the biggest pieces of that defense, along with Byron Murphy and Kobe Bryant. Without those two, it's going to be really tough to defend the pass. And if you let Trevor Lawrence get into a rhythm, if you let Liam Cohen get his plays going and really allow his guys to get in a rhythm, if Brian Thomas can get a little bit better than he's been playing, like you saw the improvement Monday night, which he definitely will. And do you know why?
Why?
Because I put in a trade for him in fantasy, so now he is on the unsolicited Knicks picks roster. So we need him to step up because Malik Neighbors got hurt. He needs to be the wide receiver one now. But no, I think it's going to be really, really interesting because on paper, this is the Brian Thomas Jr. I'm back game. They don't have their number one receiver or corner in Devin Witherspoon. Thomas loves to play out of the slot. He mainly plays X, but they love to move him inside the slot, get that matchup advantage. And when it's not Devin Witherspoon, you best believe that's an advantage when Brian Thomas is at his peak. So this should be the game where he announced himself, I'm back, like 10 for 160 and 2 type of a game. And if it is, Jacksonville will win. If they can't get it going through the air, I do think Seattle wins this. I do think they're going to get it going through the air. I'm going to take Jacksonville. Liam Cohen's going to get it going. And I love this defense, man. They put up another great performance against Kansas City. I know 28 points. That seems like a lot, but this was a great game from them. They got stops when they needed to. And I think that they're going to give Darnold just enough hell to allow their offense to get out of it.
We see it similarly. I've got Jacksonville 31-28. And even though I think the Seahawks are going to have success, I think it's kind of tough for them not to have success, especially against a pass rush that's not quite elite because, I mean, you've hit a lot of green lights as far as the wide receivers. Jackson Smith and Jigba looks absolutely exceptional. Kenneth Walker has been a top 3 to 5 running back in the NFL this season.
Ow.
They're going to generate explosives. They are going to put points up on the board. But fundamentally, I think that what Sam Darnold wants to do, what he's done so far this season, rip the ball deep to intermediate over the middle of the field. The Jags have been fantastic in that area. Their safeties have been overperforming. Their linebackers have been responsible for, it feels like 6 or so turnovers. I mean, Devin Lloyd already has 4 picks, which is completely insane. I know he's not going to keep that up, but
What if he does?
I am a huge Devin Lloyd fan, so you love to see that. And that's why I think the Jaguars are just going to be able to pull it out at the end.
Yeah. I don't think when we saw this game on the schedule, week 1, I don't think we thought it was going to be the game of the week. I'll just say that. But it's great to see how far these teams have come. And to be clear, I do think Seattle would win this game fully healthy. I picked Jacksonville because Seattle's not fully healthy.
It feels so lucky that the Jags started off with a pretty easy schedule that allowed them to eke out some ugly wins because I like that the Jags are 4-1 right now. That is a fun narrative. They're a team I'm rooting for.
Yeah, and I think if you're not talking about the Jags as a better team in the AFC, as a bona fide, not just playoff contender, but AFC contender, at least in a dark horse kind of way.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're doing yourself a disservice as a team absolutely in the conversation to win the AFC South. They've just a good chance as the Colts do. Those games in December, not only may they decide the AFC South, they may decide Coach of the Year as well. I'm so excited to watch Jaguars Colts this year. I don't think those words have ever come out of my mouth, but that's going to be such a fun game to watch this defense go against the Steichen offense. I'm so there for that. And this is also going to be a great game.
Hey, and we've talked about Brian Thomas Jr. We've talked about Travis Hunter in the past and the potential that's there. I spent some time watching Byshal Tootin.
Oh, yeah?
They got a stud at RB2. He hasn't fumbled the ball yet, which was
Nice.
a big thing for him coming out of college, but he is playing fast. And not just fast as in the long speed, you give me a crease, I'm going to run away from everybody way. He is reading out zone blocking incredibly quickly. He is hard to bring down right now. That really surprised me. Sky's the limit for the Jags. Just got to figure out that last 10-15%. All right, and now we are on to your game of the week. Let me reset the timer real quick and make sure that I have an alarm going off. We got through that one in time. Great start.
Yeah, so now we're over to my game of the week. Bucks, Niners. Niners. What a game! Beating the Rams last Thursday night, banged up. I believe it was in SoFi, am I right?
Yes, it was.
They go into SoFi and they knock off the Rams. A lot of people didn't give them a chance in this game. Kyle Shanahan puts himself firmly in Coach of the Year conversations. This is a team that on paper shouldn't be 4-1. They've missed their starting quarterback for over half the year. Defense is littered with injuries. So is the offense, but they're 4-1 because they're just playing like they want it. They're playing like they're the best coach team in football, both offensively and defensively. Kyle Shanahan has been able to get these guys going. And Saleh, I mean, as we said, whenever Saleh got fired, whoever got him as defensive coordinator was just going to be the happiest team on earth, and it is showing early. He's got these rookies playing with fire, Michael Williams and Alfred Collins. Alfred Collins, by the way, making the game-winning forced fumble. That's my guy. This is an unbelievable team. I don't know what their ceiling is without Brock Purdy. With Brock Purdy, it depends on injuries and all that, but either way, I think this team competes with anybody right now. They're going to give the Bucs a run for their money.
I don't know what the 49ers ceiling is either, but I'm accepting more and more that this team might just have championship upside.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, Brandon Ayuk is going to come back at some point this year. George Kittle is going to come back at some point within the next few weeks. You have a backup quarterback in Mac Jones where if Brock Purdy misses a divisional game, you have a legit game plan that can put you over the top there. And I think Brock Purdy extends the upside even more as the guy you're expecting to be the franchise quarterback. Ricky Pearsall has looked really good this season, and he's not out there right now. Even Juwan Jennings was hurt. That win against the Rams was completely insane. They had no pass catchers. Christian McCaffrey was like their wide receiver 1 and their wide receiver 2.
And QB2.
And QB2, and Kyle Shanahan still made it all okay. Nobody expected this from the 49ers. Last year, they felt dead. It felt like all of the chemistry, all of the mojo in that locker room was off. Hasn't been the case this year. They're playing tough. Like you said, the addition of Robert Saleh has been huge. The defense is punching up instead of punching down like last season. I'm going to pick the 49ers to beat the Bucs.
Nice.
Because this is the injury bowl, unfortunately. I love the Buccaneers. They're probably the team I was highest on, I would say, coming out of the offseason. They're beat to shit right now, and I think it's getting too hard to ignore. I know they went out there and they got a huge win against the Seahawks, and I continually regret picking against the Buccaneers because they're injured. But guys who haven't practiced this week, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Zion McCollum, and Benjamin Morrison. I mean, that's a very large collection of losses. And I think that Kyle Shanahan is going to be able to exploit that because I think the drop-off when you lose those aspects of the Buccaneers offense is smaller than the drop-off the 49ers face when they lose their pass catchers. A big part of that is Christian McCaffrey. A big part of it is the scheming. And when you look at how the Buccaneers are trying to defend the pass, it's a lot of blitzing. I think it's probably going to be Mac Jones starting again. He's shown ability to hang in there, hang tough against the blitz, and get the ball out to whoever he has catching passes. And the second-level pass coverage from the Buccaneers has been really rough. Levante David is still good. He's wearing down. Servassier Dennis has been excellent in run defense. Pretty much unplayable in coverage. And he's still out there on a lot of third downs because their depth behind him doesn't seem to be very good. I think that the 49ers have just enough wiggle room to pull this one out 27-26.
Ooh, close one, and I think it'll be just as close. I'm going to give it to the Bucs, though. I thought last week the Rams were going to overwhelm the Niners' offensive line. I was wrong, and I'm really not sure why they didn't. You're watching the game. It's like that should have been a win. Most other times if Jared Verse gets that win, I just felt like the Niners' offensive line punched above their weight, even compared to the rest of the games this season. I don't think it'll happen again. We'll see if it does, though. Maybe it will. I need to see it again. But if they go out there and they neuter 2 really good defensive lines, then I'm all in on the Niners offensive line. But they weren't playing well before this. You know what I mean? So I just think that Vita Vea is going to be a problem. Not just in run defense, which of course he will be. They've loved to run. They love their outside zone, but if you can't run up the middle, you can't run the football in the NFL, no matter who you are. And Vea is going to be a problem. I don't think there's anybody in that interior who's big enough, smart enough, strong enough to stop him. He's going to be a problem in the pass rush as well. Yaya Diaby is going to be a problem on the outside. Todd Bowles' blitzes are going to be a problem for San Francisco. Mac Jones, he looked real good, calling out stuff, changing the protections, getting out of bad plays, checking from passes to runs. He looks really good last week. Going against Todd Bowles is a different monster, and I don't know if he's quite ready for it. I think Tampa does what they do last week. Maybe the defense lets up a little bit of stuff, but the offense comes out firing because Baker is still that guy, and I think San Francisco is going to have a tough time getting pressure against the Bucs offensive line that has really settled down now that Wirfs has come back and Graham Barton has moved back to his natural position.
Look, I don't know how the 49ers held up against that Rams pass rush.
It also wasn't great, to be clear. It was just it was a decent performance.
They did enough.
I expected it to be awful. It was okay, we survived.
Now, where I'm going with this is I don't know how the Buccaneers' offensive line is going to be able to hold up against the 49ers, which is not a good pass rush, by the way. It's a very poor pass rush, but the Buccaneers were absolutely decimated in that win against the Seahawks, and it felt like it, watching it live. Baker Mayfield was running for his life. He was showing the pocket presence, staying alive, and ripping strikes over the deep middle of the field. That's a very high variance way to play. I mean, one arm gets in the way and you've lost a fumble just like that. He had another few near interceptions. Baker Mayfield just continues to get away with shit. I'm not going to be mad about that because it is extremely entertaining to watch. It feels to me like the Buccaneers are due for aggression, but did you say that they returned a starter on the offensive line?
Wirfs last week or 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you're right about that.
And it's just very clear. Is Baker still being pressured? Yes, at a similar rate, but that was Seattle.
Very good D-line.
Yes, Mike McDonald. He's a very smart guy. But he is a lot more comfortable being pressured when he has Tristan Wirfs on the left side. He doesn't worry about that blind side. He knows where the pressure is going to be coming from because he can see it. Tristan Wirfs, he just doesn't allow pressures, and he didn't last week. None of that was on him. He pitched a perfect game. So Baker's just more comfortable. I think his biggest issue has always been with pressures. He doesn't know if there's a guy behind him, and that's why he's been so good in Tampa Bay. Tristan Wirfs is the secret to that success in the slightest bit. So having him back has really done wonders, and I think Baker will be able to deal with it. He's playing well. I do think the Niners will kind of combat that turnover luck that the Bucs have. I think they'll force a couple of turnovers. I'm still going to pick the Bucs, though. And that we cleanly wrap it up in time.
Perfect timing. All right, so those were our two games of the week. I don't really have an order for the last of them. This is our first predictions episode, so there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve to it. What I did do is put the absolute garbage games at the very start so we can just blast through them. Cincinnati comes to Green Bay. I don't have a lot to say about this one. I think the Packers win by at least 2 scores, probably 3. And I know people are going to draw comparisons to the brutal loss against Cleveland. There are really 2 points that I want to raise about that. One was even though the Packers deserved to lose that game, I mean, absolutely, Love throws it away in a key situation, massive interception, and then a blocked field goal is what ultimately decides the Packers' fate. That was already a really high-variance loss. That's what it took for the Packers to lose that game in a situation where they otherwise still played really poorly. I think that shows you the talent disparity there. And 2, Cleveland had a really good defense and still does, and the Bengals are just fucking atrocious on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, exactly. The Browns are a bad team, but they're not a bad team. I
don't think they're a bad team. Yeah. They're a bad offense.
They're not a good team, but they're not a bad team. They're not mediocre. They're below average, but they're not bad. The Bengals are bad, and they're different levels of teams. The Browns are significantly better, and the Packers are going to show it. The only thing I have written down for this game is obliteration, and I think that's what it'll be. Watch for Micah Parsons to commit war crimes against Orlando Brown.
Oh, absolutely. The whole Bengals offensive line has been a disaster this year. I wasn't a huge Amarius Mims guy. Still a really fun player. Rooting for him to succeed. He'd still get better.
He has gotten better. It's just not by enough.
Yeah. 5 or 10%. Micah Parsons is going to have a fantastic day. Jordan Love just got to take care of the football. Yeah. What people don't understand is usually he does. When he makes a mistake, it's just a really, really bad mistake.
It's the one, every time he makes a mistake, you're going to see it on ESPN the next day. All right? So it just makes it look like he makes more mistakes than everybody else.
That's exactly it.
Oh, man. All right, is that that game?
Yeah.
All right, you mind if I intro the next one?
Go ahead.
All right, so it's been a while since we've had one of these, since last year. But this is the first time this year we have the return of the BallsTalkSports Who Wants It Less Classic.
There we go.
The Tennessee Titans versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Neither of these teams wants to win a game. Tennessee had to be forced to win a football game last week. Las Vegas's only win, somehow they beat the Patriots in week 1. Neither of these teams wants to win this game. If either of these teams win this game, I will be shocked. I'm predicting a tie.
This was, unironically, a really hard game to call.
Oh, yeah.
I went with Raiders 28-24. Packers 31-7 was my official prediction for the Bengals game, by the way.
Sorry.
But I might flip back and forth on this a couple more times. Here is kind of the killer for the Raiders, and the reason I'm not confident in them winning the game here. They're probably going to be down Bowers, also down A.J. Cole.
He was just ruled out.
A pretty
Bowers.
substantial loss. Yeah.
That just goes to further the fact that it's the only good player on either side, on either offense, is out.
Oh, because for
Genty.
the Titans. Wait, what?
No. Bowers is out. Genty's the only good player on either offense. Maybe Pollard.
Pollard's a good player. Come on.
Yeah, but we had the conversation about Tony Pollard. It's like, if you're not better than Tony Pollard, then you're probably not an important NFL running back.
Important. But it's hard to be an important NFL running
Yeah.
back because running backs don't matter.
You're right.
So what I see in the Raiders' offense is a really rudimentary scheme. I mean, fundamentally what they want to do is man gap stuff, but it's just a lot of stock duo. It's insert, but not like Sean McVay insert. It's motion a wing tight end into the backfield, and now you're a sniffer, and I wonder what you're going to do insert. It's running draw with Ashton Genty, and it's killing this team in multiple ways. For one, because with the offensive line not blocking well, either not making up for the lack of complex schematics, Genty is just getting hit in the backfield all the time, and there's not a lot he can do. I went through, I think, every single one of Ashton Genty's rush attempts. He looks really good.
Yeah.
I would say top 7 or 8 back in the NFL
He's a
behind an
stud.
average offensive
Who coulda
line.
guessed?
He is still a guy that puts fear in the heart of a safety who has to tackle him in the open field. I mean, you're just not making that happen. He's had a couple of the vintage Boise State chaining missed tackles together plays, but they just can't tap into it because they don't have running room. And then the passing game with Geno hasn't been better. Geno is kind of set up to fail as much as any quarterback can be because they're trying to attack downfield with him, which is what you should do.
Yeah.
But they're doing it with Trey Tucker, and they're doing it with Jacoby Myers, and he is battling to try and find anticipation throws to try and fit the ball in, and they're just not there. Every single one of his 9 interceptions has come on 4 or less rushers. He has not thrown a pick when blitzed because when you're dropping 7 or 8 guys back into coverage, nobody's getting open. They haven't really leaned on Brock Bowers either when he has been out there. I know he hasn't been fully healthy, but they're using him in the Michael Mayer role because Mayer's been out. That's been ugly. There's no dynamism to this offense. The Titans are going to stumble into points. They just suck. I mean, I don't think there's anything redeeming about the Titans with J.C. Latham probably out, Devondre Sweat on IR. They tried so hard to lose against the Cardinals. That game, just batshit insanity.
That was the real Who Wants It Less classic. I'm upset I didn't predict it.
It almost couldn't be like more of a Who Wants It Less. I mean, snap directly off of Kyler's face mask for a turnover. Amari DeMarcado dropping the ball at the 1-yard line.
We'll get to this at the Cardinals game.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
I don't know if we've all been there.
We've all done it.
I definitely haven't done it.
And then Cam Ward throwing a terrible interception. I think it might have been tipped or something. But then getting fumbled on the way down and kicked into the end zone.
Oh my God.
The score of that game should have been something like Cardinals 30, Titans 10. This is a perfect initial Who Wants It Less classic. It's going to be brutal to watch.
It's incredible. I did pick the Titans. If I am officially predicting a tie, by the way.
I love it.
So
What's the score?
2-2.
Yes!
I'm officially predicting a tie. I think the score will be 17-17. But if I have to pick one, I think I'll pick the Titans, simply for the fact that they have the best player in this game, Jeffrey Simmons.
What about Max Crosby? The entire Raiders defense.
I think at this point,
Yeah.
I think at this point Jeffrey Simmons is a better player than Max Crosby.
Fair enough.
At least on a similar level. Max Crosby will also give him hell, but this is an offensive line. And to your point about the scheme thing, it's not complex. You're right. I don't necessarily think that's Chip Kelly's fault. I just think when you can't block, you can't have a complex scheme. When you can't block, they just cannot do it. They cannot block the guys in front of them. And when you can't do that, you need to run the most basic stuff possible to give your offensive linemen even the slightest chance at blocking. And even then, they're still letting Ashton Genty get hit in the backfield. Adding those complexities, all of these bad players in the offensive line, giving them more to think about. It's going to make more turnovers, more disaster. So I don't blame him for not doing it. It's something you could try. And what's the harm at this point, right? In throwing in some of those wrinkles, see if it see if it works, because if it doesn't work, well, it's about the same as what's been happening. I do understand the reasoning behind it, though.
When you had a healthy Brock Bowers and a healthy Michael Mayer, it did feel like there was more dynamism with the run game, and then you could get into more effective play action concepts. When you're down to just one of those guys, I mean, maybe a half when you have Brock Bowers out there playing in a brace, just doing his best, and you're just chipping him all the time, yeah, it's going to get ugly pretty fast. One thing I do want to see, more Jack Bash. He's looked really good. I think he's only had like 20 targets, but he is fighting for the football. I think his route running looks nice. You see the subtle push-offs that he showed off in college. A lot of deception. I want to see more Jack Bash. I mean, what do you have to lose at this point?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's translated really well. As you said, physical guy. Sometimes that doesn't translate to the NFL. He's doing it. And those little route nuances that sometimes drop off with these guys who have it, and that's how they win in college. They are not able to win that way in the NFL. Besh is still able to do that. Really impressed me. That was my one worry with him, is like, can he translate that style of winning that we just really don't see translate often? So far he has. Limited sample size, but let's see if it can continue.
15 seconds remaining. Pretty good
All right,
pacing.
nice. Plus, I mean, I had my monologue, so.
Do you think we have one of those again next week?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked at the slate.
I mean, it's early for a Who Wants It Less Classic, but
Yeah.
you couldn't not. There.
Exactly. I had to mention it. All right.
All right, for our next game, we're going to London. You know what it is. The Broncos, technically the road team here, I believe, taking on the New York Jets.
It's really funny because they painted the end zone for Broncos.
Let's go!
Right? Just claim that you're the home team.
I mean, come on, there's no such thing as home field advantage.
Exactly.
Not a real concept. I'm going to pick the Broncos. I think you're going to pick the Broncos too. Yep. But how competitive do you think this one's going to be?
I think it'll be... I don't think it'll be competitive. If there's one thing Denver does, is they beat bad teams. And I don't think the Jets are that bad. I don't think they're the worst team in the NFL, despite what the record says. They are a bad team. And Denver's going to outcoach them. They're going to outplay them. They're going to be more physical. And I think they're just going to win this game very cleanly. Especially against a Jets team that just cannot start right now. They can't get going. That offense can't get going until the fourth quarter. If your offense has not been scoring until the fourth quarter, Denver's offense is not just going to let you turn it. Denver's defense is not going to let you turn it on all of a sudden. I just struggle to see how Justin Fields gets anything going against this defense, and Sean Payton is going to beat up on a mediocre defense at the very best.
I'm continually disappointed by the Aaron Glenn defense. You said he's not calling the plays, right?
I believe so. Maybe it switched, but I know that he wasn't calling the plays at the beginning of the season. That was Wilkes.
It's still a clear problem. I mean, it's not just that they're not good. There are roster talent deficiencies. I understand that. I mean,
and he's still the coach, though, so it's on him.
And you've got Quinnen Williams. You've got Sauce Gardner. This is not like a bottom 5 roster talent type of defense. And they've just been hapless thus far. And I think a big part of that is you have nothing to stop the run outside of Quinnen Williams. I mean, Will McDonald has had some big plays, but I haven't been impressed by what he's done against the run. That's not really his game. My boy Francis Mauangoa is out there earning a starting job. He probably shouldn't be starting for an NFL team right now. Nonetheless, going to take a victory lap on that. I think the Broncos are going to be fine on offense. I mean, if there's anything that worries you about Denver as far as like an upside perspective, it's probably what they've shown on offense, but I don't think they're going to have trouble with the Jets. And then the Jets offense, they show competent stuff, but like you said, it's in garbage time. I mean, how much does that even matter? I was looking for a confirmation bias type of stat. I wanted to find Garrett Wilson's target share because I figured it would be head and shoulders above everyone else. And it's actually not. He's in like the 10 to 15 sort of range. You know who's second in target share behind Puka Nacua?
JSN?
Breece Hall.
What?
Yeah. This team throws more screen passes than anybody else. Okay.
Can someone inform Tanner Ekstrand that Breece Hall's not Jahmyr Gibbs?
Okay, what do you want them to do? Because Ball Knowledge Quiz, can you name the Jets' other starting receivers?
Allen Lazard.
Well, Lazard, and he's hurt right now.
Malachi Corley, is he still a thing? Is Malachi Corley still a thing?
I think he's on the team. They're putting Arian Smith out there a lot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about him.
Who's been really, really poor. Mason Taylor is starting to show some stuff. Like,
nice.
One thing that's translated from his college tape, which wasn't perfect, and his NFL tape has been far from perfect, he still is a first down machine. Like, if he catches the ball 2 yards short on a stick route, he's going to catch it on his chest, and he is going to toss himself backwards over the chains. So they're getting some of that stuff going. But design touches for Mason Taylor and for Breece Hall is not an effective way to move the ball offensively. I don't think Justin Fields is even really the problem. Like, Justin Fields isn't the starting quarterback you win with. He's at least mostly done his job. He's been effective as a rushing threat. He's mostly been on target throwing to Garrett Wilson. They just don't have the horses outside of that. One matchup I'm a little bit interested in, Nick Bonito versus Armand Membu. Membu's been solid so far. I don't think he's been quite as lights out as the pass protection numbers indicate, but athleticism versus athleticism, Bonito's been fantastic. And then Jonathan Cooper versus Olu Fashanu on the other side, because Olu's been rough. Jonathan Cooper's having a pretty solid season. Going to be interesting to see who wins that one.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's being lost with Nick Bonito's all-time season right now, 7 sacks in 5 games, Jonathan Cooper's almost as good on the other side. He has been, he was dominating Jordan Mailata last week on a few reps. Like, there was a couple of times where he just got into his chest and he pushed him backwards. Nobody does that to Jordan Mailata. So credit to him, and that's the thing I have circled is Jonathan Cooper. This is his game to show. There's more than one really good pass rusher in Denver.
And Fashion, who struggled with the anchor so far this season, one of the reasons Membu has been, I think, so efficient in pass protection, he's getting all the double teams. He's getting all the chip help. Fashion, who's just on an island, could be a sneaky, really good game for Cooper.
And Bonito, the reason that I think that he's taken a step forward, and I think he's in that tier of game wreckers, maybe like a half a tier below Parsons and Garrett, those guys. I think he's half tier below them. He's with like Hutchinson in them. The reason I think is that last year he had all those sacks. It was just a speed move. This year he's added the bull rush.
Power.
Speed to power is there. It was inconsistent last year, but you could see it. He's added it, and it is perfect. It's incredible. So when he can beat you perfectly around the edge, best get off in the league, you have to worry about that. You just can't. You can't deal with speed to power. You can't worry about that. But he does it, and he's just going to knock you off your feet. Bonito is top 5 edge rusher pretty easily.
When Membu's gotten beat this year, it's been on the speed to power bull rush.
Exactly.
I mean, my opinion on this game, I got the Broncos 24-13 if I didn't mention that. Alex Singleton just has to not give up 3 touchdowns out of the backfield, and Denver's going to be fine.
Yep. All right, where are we going next?
Rams-Ravens, which preseason looked like a stellar game.
It's not.
One of the teams is good. The Ravens are kind of being demoted out of NFL caliber due to the injury bug right now. I mean, all the fun parts, all the things we like about Baltimore aren't going to be part of this game. Going to be no Roquan Smith in all likelihood. I don't think he's officially ruled out, but he hasn't practiced yet. Lamar sounds like he's borderline.
He's officially out.
Okay. No Chidobe Awuzie, which normally that's not a big deal because Chidobe Awuzie is going to be your cornerback 4. Not on the Ravens. For the Ravens, he's their cornerback 1.5 because Marlon Humphrey's been hurt all season, and Marlowe, if he plays, is almost certainly going to be hobbled in this one. I don't know what levers a hapless Baltimore team can pull right now to keep this one competitive. It's going to be a struggle, especially because I think that Cooper Rush is going to get buried behind an offensive line that struggled, and they're not going to be able to dial up much in the way of shot plays to attack a Rams secondary that's been beatable at times this year. I've got Rams 33-10.
Yeah, I think it's just going to be a pretty clean win for the Rams. They've lost 2 straight, is it? No, 2 of the last 3 against really good teams. They're not going to lose this game.
Let's see. Do I have anything actually interesting to say here? I have written in my notes, who can stop Puka Nacua? The answer is going to be nobody. Just traded for him in fantasy.
You did?
Yeah.
How?
We gave up Keenan Allen, James Cook, and Chris Olave. Hefty price to pay.
Who do you play? That's a great trade. I would love to do that. What? As a James Cook owner, I would do that in a heartbeat.
RB4?
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah,
Puka
fair
Nacua,
enough.
I mean, this is going to be another 10 for 160 in 2 week for Puka.
Genuinely.
It's just there's no
I'm
chance they
thinking
stop
so.
him. And it's not because Puka's the best receiver in the league. He is definitely top 5. You can make an argument top 3. I don't think he's better than Jefferson or Chase. Could you argue he's in the same tier? Yes. But is he definitively better? No. It's because when you get one of those elite receivers like Puka Nacua is, and then you throw the ball to him like 35% of the time, then yeah, he's just going to get a bunch of yards and a bunch of catches, and that's what Puka's doing.
Having your green dot linebacker and Roquan Smith out, I think, is particularly important because behind him, you've got Trenton Simpson and Teddy Buchanan going up against a Sean McVay offense that loves motion, that loves insert on the interior. They're going to be out of position for, I think, the majority of this game. It's just going to be an easy script. Kyron Williams just got to hold on to the ball. I figure that's what He's going to be getting told on the sideline, and that's what's going to happen. Why did the Rams get Poona Ford for free?
I don't know. How did we let that happen? I'm not sure.
He's doing the same thing that he did with the Chargers. That is a brutal Rams defensive line. Ravens have been an easy unit to overwhelm so far. I have very low expectations. There is one thing I want to call out, which is potentially DeAndre Hopkins on some of these smaller Rams defensive backs. There is potential there because DeAndre Hopkins, even though he doesn't have the athleticism anymore, has been dissecting man coverage just by going up and beating people that way. I think he is tops in the league in yards per route run against man. Ordinarily, with Lamar Jackson, who can extend the play and hit a strike downfield, that would be something I'd really be calling out. That would be something I'm interested in. Here, not so much. The result, that's going to be 2 catches for 27 yards.
Yeah, there's just nothing much you can do with Cooper Rush, your quarterback. All right, we're going to take a brief break from football for a second because my Calculus 2 midterm scores have just been posted. As you know, we're not math guys, so I'm not expecting this to be very good. Let's see. Let's fucking go! 86, baby! That's what I'm talking about. Come on, man. Class average was an 80. Suck on that. Suck on that!
Let's go. Now,
we're up.
Do you have one midterm or two?
One midterm. We
Nice.
got 4 exams throughout the year, but this is the midterm one. This was the toughest one. All my guys who have taken into Calc 2. This was all of the weird integration techniques. By parts, partial fractions. You're not here to hear me talk about math. The people know what I'm talking about. It sucked. I'm glad it's over with. I will take an 86. Let's go back to football.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
Oh, and one last thing I have to say. I watched a bunch of Mike Green.
Oh, yeah? He hasn't looked great.
Not too bad. I think he's figuring it out.
Yeah.
Against the Texans, he was being treated like he was the best pass rusher they had. It was constant boot outs away from him. They're really attacking him with play-action jump sets, which, as a guy with shorter arms, not a ton that you can do. I'm not super worried about Mike Green. You want to see more, but I don't think he is the problem with the Ravens defense.
I haven't looked at the tape. I do want to. Just from what I've seen on the broadcast, though, it just seems like he's done a great job of getting that outside shoulder, and he's obviously got a great bend, but he hasn't really been able to finish the play. Like he did that first turn, but that second turn, he's kind of he's slipped sometimes. He's kind of struggled to find the quarterback. They've been able to push him down. So, I hope that I look to see him improve that.
And I think that is something that you can naturally improve just as you get more comfortable and more competent.
Absolutely. It's not like an athletic thing. It's something that you can work on. All right.
Next game in the slate, I have the Dallas Cowboys headed to take on the Carolina Panthers, who are coming off a huge comeback win against the Dolphins. That feels kind of season-saving for the Panthers. I mean, they were on a brutal run of a couple games and a brutal start against the Dolphins as well. Bryce Young reverting all the way back to, that would have been 2023 for him. And then all of a sudden, the switch flips. They come out ready to play. The Dolphins are flat in the second half. And you embarrass Miami even more, which I will always be down for. The Cowboys, on the other hand, sitting at 4-1. Certainly not what we expected coming out of the preseason. Nope. Who do you have in this one?
Cowboys are 2-2-1.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Where the hell did I get 4-1?
I'm not sure. I was like, we're not.
Oh,
Cowboys...
I'm thinking of the Jags, who are also expected 4-1.
Well, this game I have designated as a new type of game. We have the BallsTalkSports Game of the Week. We have the BallsTalkSports Who Wants It Less Classic. When I was looking at this game, I was like, this is such a special game because I just don't think anybody's going to play defense. So I'm going to call this the BallsTalkSports Recess Bowl. It's recess football at its finest. Carolina, Dallas, 51-50. Do we think that's the final score?
I went a little lower. I went Cowboys 25-22.
Really? All right.
And I have a reason for that. Bryce Young has thrown all 7 touchdowns this season against man coverage and all 4 interceptions against zone.
That's the one thing the Cowboys don't do.
Matt Eberflus. Wait. What's the one thing the Cowboys don't do?
Run man coverage.
Exactly, yes. Matt Eberflus runs an extremely zone-heavy defense, and it's going to be interesting to see which prevails. The awfulness of the Cowboys' zone defense so far, or the awfulness of Bryce Young attacking zone coverages. Because I think if you get a few mistakes from Bryce and the Cowboys go with more of a run the ball up the gut with Javonte and sort of piece apart an undermanned but pretty solid overall behind a Evero Panthers defense. You could get into more of a time possession game script, which Dak has shown that he has the ability to win those games, but Dak has also shown this year that he has the ability to win shootouts. This game could go a lot of different ways. I think that it's very much in play for both teams here. I think the spread is something like Cowboys minus 3.5. That feels a little steep to me. You just don't know what you're going to get out of Carolina.
Yeah, and that's ultimately why I'm going to pick Dallas. I feel like I trust their offense a little bit more. So when it comes down to a shootout, like I think it will be, I think Dallas is just going to get that final drive more often than not than Carolina will. And I'm not as worried about the zone thing. It's a nice stat. It's really important to pull out. But Caleb Williams is just as bad at going against zone. And he's worse at going against man than Bryce Young is. But he's just as bad as going against zone. And he was able to do it decently because Ben Johnson was able to just say, here's where you're going to throw the football, because they're just not going to change the zones up much. Matter Eberflus, the zones they do run, if you have talent, you can win with those zones. But if you don't have a bunch of talent like the Dallas Cowboys defense does not, then it's pretty easy to pick them apart. Doesn't disguise much. It's a lot of basic cover 3, way more basic cover 2. They're not running a lot of base.
It's the cover 2 for me.
Exactly. They're running way too much cover 2 for a team that does not have the corners to play cover 2. I think Bryce Young, and they run a lot of cover 2. What's the one zone Bryce Young has proven he can hit?
Is it cover 2?
It's the whole shot. He can hit the whole shot. You bet he's going to be looking for that all day. But I think it'll be really close. I think I trust Dak more though. So give me the Cowboys. A little matchup to watch. Those Panthers linebackers playing a little bit better than we expected. All right. Can they go out there and they stop Javonte Williams, who's played a lot better than expected? Can they get in there? Because I think that Cowboys run blocking is going to stop those guys up front. Can the linebackers make plays, get in there, and mess things up?
I think that they might be able to hold down Javonte Williams a little bit, because don't get me wrong, Javonte has played really well this year. He's far exceeded expectations, both I think what the fans thought he would be and clearly what general managers thought he'd be, since I think he got like a $2 million contract and hardly got paid to come to Dallas. I don't think he's been a top 10 running back in terms of the tape. I've been at times impressed by the Cowboys' offensive line. I've been even more impressed by the way Brian Schottenheimer has schemed up the run game using backfield misdirection, hitting with a variety of man-gap concepts. I think that that's really helping them out. I think Dak Prescott, though, will be able to attack the Panthers' linebackers. He's been surprisingly effective hitting the intermediate area of the field. Not that, that's something Dak can't do. But with George Pickens out there, that's not really his game. They've done a good job overall. I've just been super impressed by the cohesion of this Cowboys offense. One thing I'm watching is, can Evero scheme up pressure, though, to sort of throw a wrench in that? Because Nick Scorton playing really well. They've gotten a couple true pass set wins, which I think is more than we were expecting for the Panthers. If you can overload one side and get heat that way, then you can win a one-on-one on the other side. Tyler Guyton's been an absolute friggin' disaster so far this season. If you can get Dak a little uncomfortable, I don't think you're going to get a turnover or a couple turnovers. I think it's more like maybe a few drive stall and you score 28 points and you win at 28-27. I think that that's what the Panthers are going to be looking to do. But yeah, I'll side with the Cowboys.
All right, we agree.
Next up, we have Cardinals-Colts. Headed into this game, as I was doing the research for it, I really expected to like the Cardinals in this one because I am a very... What's the right way to put it? I like sustainable outcomes. When I see a fluky play happen on Sunday, I always put that in the back of my head, as in that's something that's due for regression to the mean. For example, one of the reasons I like the Colts so much against, who did they destroy last week? The Raiders, right? And that was one of my favorite picks against the spread, is because they should have beat the Rams. I mean, they probably lost 10 points on really fluky plays, one of them obviously being Adonai Mitchell fumbling the ball out of the back of the end zone. And I wasn't worried about the Colts. I thought the Colts were still a fantastic football team and they would take care of business against a bad football team. What happened to the Cardinals last week was about as fluky of a game as you can ever possibly have. And goddamn, I still kind of think it matters.
Yeah.
Because it's every game with the Cardinals. And I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's quarterback. I don't know if fate is just out to get them. But there is no way the vibes in the Arizona locker room are good. The vibes are fantastic in Indy. And I think the Colts are ready to take care of business. I don't know what Arizona does to get Indy off of their script, which has been so effective thus far against all variety of opponents.
Yeah, exactly. I really think this game comes down to discipline versus non-discipline. The Cardinals just don't have it. I think they're probably high up in penalties this year in the league. I've counted a lot just watching their games, and they really don't do anything well. I don't think they do a lot of things poorly necessarily, but they don't do anything well, and the Colts do a lot of things well. Probably the best rushing team so far in the league. Maybe a couple other teams give them a run. Cardinals haven't stopped the run that well. I mean, they've done it okay, but also the thing with the Cardinals is they haven't played very good teams. Titans aren't a very good team. Carolina Panthers aren't a very good team, and they were in death matches with both of them, and they lost one of them. So I think a good team that knows how to handle their business, and the Colts have proven that they are that so far, is really just going to make it a clean, decisive win.
32nd in strength of schedule. That's what it feels like, and that's what the analytics
And they're 2-3.
Oh, man. They've dropped the ball so far. I mean, sometimes literally.
Yeah. I just don't know how you have that happen. And when it happens, like you said, it's fluky. But, man, when the Cardinals do this every week, it just feels like there's something in the water in Arizona, or unfortunately lack of water in Arizona. But it's just really, it's got to suck to be a Cardinals fan right now.
They're better when they can actually run the ball. They're better when they have James Conner behind a pretty solid
And
offensive
Benson.
line. He's a stabilizing factor, and then you lose Benson as well. So you don't just lose the guy who's really carrying the cart for you, just hitting the hole consistently, running with power, never coughing it up. You also lose some of that lightning-ass back. Trey Benson was looking solid there for a little bit, and now you're down to Emery Demercado and Michael Carter. And I'm kind of shocked that Demercado is still even on the team.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to bring up. So I'm sure you saw the sideline altercation.
I did.
I was kind of surprised that, oh my gosh, how am I possibly screwing this up? Who's the Cardinals head coach?
Gannon.
I was going to say Gannon. I don't know why I doubted myself on that. Gannon got fined $100,000 for that, which you should obviously not hit players. I am not in favor of hitting people. I thought that was more of a chest pad slap.
Really?
That's what it looked like to me. He didn't hit him high, did he?
I thought he hit him low.
Okay.
Like I thought that was a little bit of malice behind the hit.
Okay.
I didn't think it was that bad, but I also think the reason that way it was bad, it looked like he just kind of lost control, you know?
It did look like that.
And what was he berating Emery Demercado for doing? Losing control, letting his emotions get the best of him and losing control of the football at the line. It's just not setting a great example. You know what I mean? He made a mistake and he got a little bit, the moment got the best of him, and then Gannon goes out there and does the same thing. Now, I'm not going to take anything stone cold from that because we're not on the sidelines. It could have been a chest tap, keep your head up kind of thing, but they've got mics on the sidelines. You got to it's the NFL, but you got to believe that it wasn't unfounded. Actually, you don't. Fines are mostly unfounded. I don't believe that it wasn't unfounded, but there is merit to it's not unthinkable that Gannon just lost control. So that isn't something to watch at least.
I agree. He went in really angry. It was kind of funny because you couldn't see clearly what happened because NFL football players entirely block out Gannon. Just gives you some context for how big NFL football players are.
Oh, yeah.
Why I think it matters, though, he's suspended.
He's suspended?
The Cardinals suspended him. Yes. It was an in-franchise suspension.
I didn't see that.
I can check
And something
absolutely
definitely
for
happened.
sure.
If they suspended him in-house, then that's something. There was there was real malice behind that, and the players did not take kindly to it. Because that doesn't happen without player pressure.
God damn it, I'm trying to find what I actually read. There are some extenuating circumstances that make me worry about what the leadership of this Cardinals team is going to be like when the leadership was clearly already not at a high level. Going up against the Indianapolis Colts, I think that is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and oh man, it was such a, we didn't have this drama, it would be such a fun storyline. Steichen versus Gannon, the former Philly coordinators of the Super Bowl team.
Two coaches that feel like they're on the up, at least
Yeah.
Steichen this year and Gannon last year.
Yeah.
What could have been? All right, we have Chargers-Dolphins next.
This is the 2020 draft quarterback war.
Correct. Who do you think comes out on top?
It's tough. I mean, it's not. I'm picking the Chargers, but with how they've been playing, it's a little bit closer than I'd like. Uh, Ultimately, this will be the better quarterback wins, the better team wins. Miami fast approaching the firing of Mike McDaniel, just out of sorts. And that loss to Carolina was just, oh man, if that wasn't the last straw for a lot of Dolphins fans, I don't know what will be, because I do think it might get worse than that. That was rough. I do think it'll be somewhat close. I just don't really see how Miami scores all that much in this game. Because, yeah, the Chargers defense isn't great talent-wise, but it's also not bad. I think Minter's going to drop a lot of zones. Disguise coverages, too, has never been great against disguise coverages. I don't think that's just all of a sudden going to change today. I think Minter's going to throw a lot of that at him. I think Tua's going to throw the ball to a safety rotating down at least once. I don't know if Waddle's going to make enough of an impact to get open. I don't think Waller's going to do it. I don't think Achan's going to do a well enough job. Tiertart's going to have plugged up the middle, and those linebackers are going to do a good enough job taking away the outside. I mean, he made the Panthers linebackers look good last week. This Miami running game made the Panthers linebackers look good last week. I'm not saying that the Panthers linebackers have played better than I expected this year, but still. It's just Miami's nothing going for them on either side of the ball right now, really. So I can't pick them. Chargers, doesn't look great. The line is depleted. The receivers have been inconsistent. Johnson having a great year, but then he has that fumble last week, and then he just doesn't play great for the rest of the game. Clearly his confidence got shattered. Hopefully that changes heading into this game. McConkey hasn't really been getting the production that he had last year, and Hampton and Harris are both down. So you're down to your number 3 and number 4 running back, Hassan Haskins, Kamani Vidal. A lot of bad things happening in Los Angeles. I do think they win this game, but it's not because I think that they're necessarily a team with a great outlook going forward.
I wouldn't say that the Dolphins have nothing going for them. I think that this is a pretty overall competent offense because you can get the ball to Achane on the perimeter. When you watch Devon Achane in space,
He's great.
It is really impressive. Between the tackles, it's hit or miss with more missing than hitting going on, but there are running backs that I would like to have less than Devon Achane is your true hand-the-ball-off guy. Tua, with the anticipation, there's going to be room to attack the middle of the field. I think that against this Chargers front seven, which, yeah, Dion Henley is athletic, and he's made some plays in coverage this year. I don't know if the processing is all the way there, but Dion Henley's fine. Troy Dye sticks out to me on tape for the wrong reasons, at least against the pass. He's made some plays against the run. I do think that you can attack the Chargers that way, and I think it'll be good for 2 or 3 touchdowns, but I think he's going to make a mistake. I think Tua will turn the ball over in this one. God, I still want to say it, but I'm not going to say it. And I think that Justin Herbert will be able to will the Chargers to victory. And I know that's sort of a cliche thing to say, that the better quarterback wins. But you watch L.A. right now, and it is truly how they operate. Because the offensive line cannot hold up right now. They're still down Joe Alt. They're still down Trey Pipkins. They're trotting out Austin Deculus at tackle, which that was a nightmare in Game 1. I don't even know who's playing the other side with Trey Pipkins out. Who's their other starting tackle?
The Chargers? Salyer.
Oh, they have Jamari Sawyer out there?
I thought.
Let me confirm this for sure, because I know Trey Pipkins was in and out of the lineup last game.
Oh, that's sick. Hold on.
No, you're right. You're right. It is Sawyer.
It is? Sweet. But news, just a slight second. Cowboys linebacker DeMarvion Overshone is nearing a return to practice. Looks like he's going to be coming back November.
Wow, well, that's really cool.
Very accelerated timeline. So great to have him back soon.
When did he tear his ACL?
Last year sometime.
It's impressive to have him
back. I mean, it
back.
was complete tear. PCL, LCL, MCL as well. Maybe not the MCL. The PCL and the LCL. Tear.
That's going to be a big deal for Dallas because, I mean, Jack Sanborn is still a stud against the run. Really not so much against the pass. I'll always stand up for Badger guys. And then Kenneth Murray just isn't really good at anything. So having DeMarvion Overshone back, I really think will be a big deal for Dallas. Back on Chargers-Dolphins, Justin Herbert is having an MVP type of season.
100%.
Truly just...
He's not going to win it, but it's not his fault.
I don't
know.
Not
his fault!
We'll see. He looks stellar on tape. That really is all the Chargers have is Justin Herbert and some really nice pass catchers on offense now that they're depleted with Omarion Hampton, who is starting to come and do his own there. I think it's going to be enough against Miami. That defense doesn't offer a ton of resistance. Maybe this is Chop Robinson's return to rookie season glory. I watched a lot of Chop Robinson. He's doing his thing. He just hasn't taken a step up.
Yeah.
And when the rest of the defensive line is playing really badly, you're not going to get a ton out of a Chop Robinson. He's kind of that luxury piece that you can stunt around and you can pick special matchups for. The Dolphins don't have that luxury right now. I think the Chargers will be fine. I think Keenan Allen will do enough. I think Ladd McConkey will do enough. It was weird that Quentin Johnson seemed to come out of that last game after the untimely fumble, but he has looked good this season. I think he gets back to it. I think that's all it's going to take against a Miami team that isn't scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel in terms of the product they put on the field, but they have been game-losing specialists this year. I think that continues.
100%. Question. Do you think if the Chargers make the playoffs, do we get a Herbert MVP similar to how people were talking about Burrow maybe getting an MVP if he forced the Bengals back into the playoffs? Because, I mean, all the stuff that they've overcome, if Herbert continues to look this good and gets them a few signature wins, pushes them into the playoffs,
I don't know if that would be the sticking point for the Chargers because I don't know if people know how bad things are in Los Angeles right now.
True.
I mean, they're down offensive linemen.
Yeah.
Fantasy football players know the wide receivers they have. They know the pass-catching talent. But I think he looks so dominant right now where he is genuinely elevating this team in the clutch moments, which is maybe the one complaint you could make about Justin Herbert in the past. He just looks so damn good, and he might have the production by the end of the year as they have to lean into him more and more that he could just have a solid MVP case.
That's a message to all head coaches. If you want your star quarterback to step up in the clutch moments, have them date Madison Beer.
Obviously.
And it'll work.
Yes, I know who people are.
She's the new Taylor Swift of the NFL, apparently. This is what I'm told.
Who was the old Taylor Swift of the NFL?
Jason Kelsey.
I did listen to the full new Taylor Swift album, by the way.
Thoughts?
Meh. It's not her best work.
No, it's not.
It's adequate.
You know, I'm a decent Taylor Swift fan, and I really am. I fuck with 1989 heavy. This was not it.
I respect that.
This was not it, man. This was not it. It was worse than meh.
I mean, the production is great, as always.
100%. But I mean, some of this stuff, man, I felt like halfway through the album, or like a third of the way, I was like, you know what, this is solid. I like this. And then I heard like 4 of the worst songs I've ever heard.
Yeah, it tailed off quickly.
Yeah, it was
toward the end.
It was bad. There were some good moments, though. There were some good moments. And we Swifties, we'd love to have you on the pod. To have you keep watching. You're a welcome part of the BTS army. But we're going to give our true thoughts. And you know what? Honestly, from what I've heard about people saying online, we've given better reviews than most people have.
What is it being hated by most people?
Yeah, it's been torn to pieces, which I get. But we're not necessarily doing that. So you have a friend in Balls Talk Sports. Don't come after us.
It's listenable.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, next up we have the New England Patriots taking on the New Orleans Saints. This is kind of an interesting matchup because it's a team that's been surprisingly solid and feels like they're getting better every single week versus a team that was supposed to be absolutely atrocious and has been bad, but I don't think the worst team in football.
100%.
This is a really gritty sort of game.
Yeah, I don't think we would have expected this to be this late in the show a few weeks ago, but Patriots have come quite a long way. They get their signature win. Go into Orchard Park on Sunday Night Football. Drake May shows the world what we've been knowing for a while, that this guy is a good quarterback. Still has some issues, of course, but he can make the plays when the moment is at its peak. And, man, it's just about consistency, and that consistency has improved. It seems like every week this season. This team is a far cry from the team we saw against the Raiders week 1.
Now, to be fair, this game is only this far back because it's, I think, like a Sunday Night Football game. Is this Sunday Night Football this week?
There's no way this is Sunday Night Football.
No, it's just a late afternoon slate game, and I was writing my notes down for these, like actually going through the schedule, and being that we were rushed, didn't have time to put them in order. But yes, we'll go with this is a pretty solid game, and that's why it's
watchable.
Yep, that's why it's this late in the show. Drake May has been really solid. He made some fantastic plays in the Patriots' recent win over the Bills. Certainly taking a step up, which is something you were concerned about after he started the year a little slow. I don't think Drake May is what's impressed me most about the Patriots. Thus far, it's actually been the coaching. I am loving this Josh McDaniels offense. You look at how bad their offensive line should be and the ways that he's been able to mitigate it. They have a functional running game, which they absolutely didn't last year. Ramondre Stevenson just doing his damnedest to make it not a functional run game by fumbling the ball every 20 touches or so. But when he's not fumbling the ball, a really excellent running back with power and burst. Patriots coming out in a lot of heavy personnel and utilizing a fullback on lead blocks to help eliminate some of that. I see a lot of slice action watching the Patriots tight ends coming from the wing and kicking guys out. So he's doing a lot to set up a run game where then you can get into play action, which I think is where Drake May really thrives. Because Drake May is an underrated rushing quarterback. He has a sensational IQ in scramble drill where he can make magic happen. He can drop it in the bucket downfield where you go to play action and you can put Kayshon Boutte on a deep crossing route or a go ball or a sail route. Those few routes that more speed-oriented players with, okay route running, okay hands, really thrive in, and that's how you generate explosives. But at the same time, if you're not doing that, you're getting the ball out quickly to a Hunter Henry or something like that. So I think that this is a situation where Drake May is set up to thrive. I think that this Patriots offense has more staying power than I was expecting because, throughout the first couple weeks, I thought I was going to get to the tape and come away, they just got kind of lucky. I think the Patriots are a solid football team, and I think they have a decent defense already. Brian Daboll, we're seeing that effect early on, playing extremely fast, playing with intensity, loading up the line, and then just playing man coverage behind it. Christian Gonzalez doing his thing. Marcus Jones looks good. I like the Patriots, and I'm going to pick them 28-20 in this one.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to pick the Patriots as well. Lines really impressed me. That's the thing for me. I was really worried, especially after week 1 against the Raiders. This is going to be more of the same. Last week, they walk into Buffalo and they pitch a really solid performance. Was it perfect? No. But was it good enough? Absolutely. Good enough to let May stick in the pocket on some plays. And when it broke down, it wasn't so bad that he couldn't get out. Then he was able to get on the run. And there's not many quarterbacks in the league better than Drake May when it comes to throwing on the run. He is really good at that. And you know what? Anybody who watched him at North Carolina could have told you this is probably going to be a good NFL quarterback. And he's really growing into that. He's getting better. And he's still got a lot of getting better to do, but there's really no doubt in my mind that will happen. As much progress as we've seen him make in year and over the summer, I think he's definitely going to be. He's their franchise quarterback. I think they're relatively positive about that. And it's just about you're already punching above your weight this year, it seems. This is a better team than really anybody expected. Wild card spot. Hell, I'll say it. Could they compete with the Bills for the top of the AFC East? Because, listen, that sounds crazy, but we'll get to the Bills in a second and why I think that this is they're a dark horse at the very least. It's not just locked up for the Bills.
I agree it's not locked up for the Bills. I don't think the Patriots are going to compete with them, but I have unrelated concerns about the Bills.
Really? You think the Jets are going to
yes.
come out of 0-5?
Yes, I think that the Jets are going to win. That would be 12 straight games. Yep. I think that they're going to knock off the Bills twice because they haven't played them yet, right? So that's still possible. I think that they're going to sweep the Bills, and I think that they're going to go on a Super Bowl run. That is the official BTS take.
Yep.
Back to Patriots-Saints. Even though I really like the Patriots, I've been impressed by the Saints as well. The defense doesn't have good players, but better than I thought a Brandon Staley Saints defense would be. They're at least competent. They're getting some pass rush. DeMario Davis still out there doing his thing.
Brandon and Jordan both look solid for older guys.
Definitely.
Granderson. Sorry.
The offense has impressed me more than the defense has. Spencer Rattler, if not good, looks very playable.
Yeah, he's at least a spot starter.
He is absolutely in that tier because he still does give you the vertical arm talent. We saw a beautiful deep ball to Rashid Shaheed in the last game against, who did the Saints have last week?
The Giants, no?
Yeah, yes, because they wound up beating the Giants on the back of, I think, 5 turnovers. DeMario Davis punched one out in a key spot.
Which means the Saints would beat the Eagles if they played.
Yep,
this is how it works.
That's what that means. Rattler has maintained that ability to operate on the run. He's a QB run threat. I've been pleased by how Kellen Moore has been able to draw that up, getting him out of the pocket. I don't know how much of the run game with Kamara is going to be there because it's a lot of pulling man gap sort of stuff, and the way that the Patriots are loading up the box and using their disruptive defensive lineman. Christian Barmore looks great. Milton Williams has looked pretty good. Even against the run, I think he's looked all right. They're going to manage quite a few stops in this one, and I don't think that's what the Saints want to do is play from behind. That's why I give the advantage to the Patriots, but the Saints are not the easiest out in football.
No.
I mean, we saw them go toe-to-toe with the Bills for about 3/4. This is a competent team, and I like to see that.
Yeah. I want to give a quick shout-out to Rashid Shaheed. Consistently one of the better deep threats in the league. Not talked about, but we talk about him. We don't talk about him really. He's like a gadget player, but he's more than that. He's a decent NFL receiver. Saw a crazy stat about him the other day. I think he's got 12 or 13 touchdowns on his career. His first touchdown of less than 20 yards came in week 2.
Oh my gosh.
This is a third-year player, guys. Third-year player. His 12th touchdown was his first one of less than 20. Then he goes out there, he rips an 87-yarder last week. So my fastball is not dead.
He doesn't feel 27 to me.
Yeah, is it his third year or is it his fourth year? Because I know he
UDFA
was
in 2022.
Yeah, UDFA. So
Would that be 22, 23, 24, 25? Is this year 4 for Sheehan?
yeah, year 4. I mean, he didn't get on the field in 22 though.
Okay, that explains it.
So he really only started to get snaps in 23.
One of the guys in the Alec Pierce club with an average depth of target on the career of over 20 yards, I believe.
Yeah, he's kind of like. That's a bad comment. I was gonna say Sammy Watkins a little bit, but
There's some Sammy Watkins.
there's a little bit there, but not really.
All right, what's your official pick for this one?
I'm going Patriots by a comfortable margin, multiple scores. I think they get this done. But Saints give them a little bit of a scare. This feels like one the Patriots are kind of in it. The Saints are in it until the fourth quarter when the Patriots kind of pull away a little bit.
All right, next up, we have a game I don't really want to talk about, to be honest with you. It's Browns-Steelers. Over under 20 points scored.
Eesh. I'm going to take the under.
I like it.
And I'm going to take the Browns. And
Are
this
you really?
is not a joke. I am
Let's
taking
go.
the Browns. Will they win? I don't know. But fuck, man. I don't think the Steelers are good. More about that. So I'm taking the Browns, and I'm not kidding. That is my official pick. I think the Browns have the better defense.
Oh, yeah.
And that is shocking to me, but I think they do. It's going to come down to, do the Browns have a significantly worse offense than the Steelers? I don't think they do. I think they probably have a better run game.
Agreed.
The pass game's not that much worse. I think Dylan Gabriel does enough. I think the Browns take it in a slugfest. This team has proven they can win slugfests. Steelers haven't. I mean, they kind of have, but look, the Steelers are 3-1. They beat the 0-5 Jets by 2 points. They beat New England by a touchdown when New England was still Who did they beat last week?
They didn't play last week, I don't think. Were they on
Did
bye? Am
not play?
am
Oh,
I
yeah, they were
insane?
on bye. They were on bye. Who did they play the week before that, though? Because they lost to the Seahawks by multiple scores, and they looked terrible in that one. Aaron Rodgers it's just not really much. The run game's not much. Yeah, they barely beat the quarterbackless Vikings by 3 points in London.
Oh, yeah.
I think the Browns win.
I think you thought you were going to surprise me, and you really didn't because I strongly considered the Browns in this
Oh, yeah?
one. The Browns are going to be pesky against pretty much anyone in the league because that defense is legit. Myles Garrett has somehow gotten even better, posting some of the best numbers of his career as far as pressure rate and pass rush win rate. And oh my God, do you notice it when you watch the Browns? It's like you don't even have to see where Garrett is pre-snap because he's the guy smashing into the backfield and ripping through a double team. And then beside him, or I guess on the interior rather, Malik Collins is bizarrely having something like a Defensive Player of the Year season.
Really? I
It's-
mean, I knew he'd been solid, but
It's not going to sustain himself.
Of
But
course.
okay, so I remember over the first 2 weeks, Malik Collins really caught my eye, and then his PFF grade backed it up. And I was thinking about the Packers game. It's like, am I really going to factor Malik Collins into my evaluations? Like, no, the dude's like 33. It's a fluke, whatever.
he's always been better than people have given him credit for.
He probably had a few sacks. He's just a dude. Don't need to factor that in. And then I think he has 2 critical plays against the Packers. I think he had like a sack and a hit in that one. And then I was watching them last week, and he just gets 2 bona fide sacks, and this isn't stunting. This isn't unblocked. He's just winning as a pass rusher, and he's making plays as a run defender, too. He has been absolutely fantastic this year, and I'm not going to ignore it anymore. The Steelers have a beatable offensive line. The Browns have an electric pass rush. This rookie class for the Browns has just been stellar. I mean, Mason Graham's been really good, but Carson Schwessinger looking like a top 15-ish linebacker in the NFL. They got so many dudes. Quinshon Judkins looks like the real deal. I could totally see the Browns winning. I'm going to take the Steelers 13-17.
Fair.
Because I have very little faith in the Dylan Gabriel offense. I think you could do worse. I think they did worse last year when they were starting Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But just the way Gabriel limits the upside of this team. Look, I like this. I like that he's not going to turn the ball over a ton. But when you get to 3rd and 12, and you kind of expect the ball is going to get thrown out of bounds or there's going to be a miscommunication, it's just rough. It's not a good place to be. It's truly got to be Quinshon Judkins or bust. At least David Njoku's getting the ball a little bit now. I like that. But then on the flip side, you're not using Jerry Jeudy, who was a Pro Bowler last year. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think he should be a Pro Bowler, but just a very limited offense. Could get it done, though, because the Steelers' offense also sucks.
So you're saying they should start Shadur Sanders?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I am. Because it would be really funny.
It would.
And I appreciate that.
The second Shadur throws a pick, the internet would blow up.
Is Shadur the QB2?
He's the QB3.
Who's the QB2?
I don't know. I know he's the QB3. I don't know who's the quarterback 2.
All right, let's see the Browns depth chart.
It's somebody irrelevant.
Oh, no. They've got him listed as the second stringer.
They do? There was a whole drama about him being QB3.
I know. I'm familiar with the same thing. Put Deshaun Watson ahead of him, cowards.
Let's see.
Oh, man,
Hold on.
Cleveland.
There's no way we're forgetting this. I'm just searching up QB3 online, and surely it will pop up. What the hell? Who is the other quarterback on their roster?
Is it still Kenny Pickett somehow, even though they traded him?
No way. Do they have another quarterback? He's QB3 and a 2-quarterback offense?
Browns practice squad. We're going to find out who this is. Bailey Zappi's on the practice squad.
That's who it was. Bailey Zappi's the number 2 quarterback, and he's on the practice squad. I shit you not.
You know, I'm just saying, Bailey Zappi as QB2 would actually be pretty understandable.
Yeah, Zappi's a solid backup. Sanders,
We'll see.
I mean, he projected as one coming out of college. Who knows? We at the very least thought Sanders was going to be a really solid backup.
Yes, I will say that. I do think he'll be a solid NFL backup. I would be surprised if he's not.
If you ignore the circus that comes with him, because you don't want to. That was the issue you had with drafting Sanders, was you're getting a guy with floor of a really quality backup quarterback, which there's no problem with taking that in the 3rd, 4th round. There's no problem with taking a guy you know is going to be a really great backup, but the ceiling of really an average starter. And that's great, but when it comes with the whole media stuff and you have to worry about all that, and not necessarily his fault, sometimes it is. He, needs to. I'm not going to tell him what not to say because he's had a lot more PR training than I.
He says a lot of stupid shit.
But it's just like he's kind of getting himself in trouble, and I'm not saying that he should be getting in trouble for what he's saying, but it's the NFL, and you have to understand the business that you're in. Even if you don't think that you should be getting in trouble for the things you're saying, which I may or may not agree with you on that, you still got to know where you are, So, and I do understand why he's quarterback 3.
I try and be lenient about these type of things because
he's a rookie too.
He's a rookie, and it's so easy to accidentally say dumb stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, also when you're an athlete and you have to have the ultimate self-confidence.
Yeah.
It's not an easy situation to be in. I remember when Zach Wilson said something about his offensive line that was actually kind of valid. The offensive line played badly. You remember the whole situation, yeah. I'm sure. And
but
I don't think that was that bad. What Shadur's saying is even a step above that, man. Come on, you're the 3rd string rookie.
Yeah.
We can't be doing this.
And you got to earn it. When Cam Ward said, "I'm gonna keep it a bean," we asked, or "I'm gonna keep it a buck." I'm gonna keep it a buck.
Yeah,
we asked.
That was awesome.
He earned it because
Yep.
he's playing solid out there, and he's giving his all. He's the starting quarterback. He's taking responsibility. He's like, "I'm keeping a buck." We asked, and it starts with me. That's what you want to see. So, yeah, a little bit of something. It's not much of an issue. It's just I would love to see him be a really great backup, but, you know, it might never happen. I hope it does.
That was such a green flag moment from Cam Ward.
Yeah,
That was so real.
franchise guy.
Yep. Off that alone.
Yep.
All right, we have 3 games left that we are going to blast through pretty quickly. Unfortunately, these are actually 3 of the better games. We got Lions at Chiefs, and I think if the Lions were fully healthy, this one would be even better. They're down Terry and Arnold now for an extended period of time. Probably still Taylor Decker at tackle, and now maybe Kirby Joseph, who I think was injured mid-last game. I don't think that they were without him against the Bengals. I'm going to pick the Lions in what I think is going to be sort of an unexpected game script. I've got them 35-34.
Ooh.
I think that the Chiefs, with Xavier Worthy back against the beat-up Lions defense, might actually be able to do some damage. Mahomes is playing well. He's having maybe in the last 3 years his best season so far.
I'd say.
I think it's pretty clear that the Chiefs' offense is designed to work with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice, and they're kind of one injury away from being the 22nd best offense in the NFL. But as long as they have those guys, they can be pretty solid. They can hang 30 on you, I think.
But they don't have Rice this week.
They don't have but they have Worthy, which is big, and then I
Yeah.
think they're going to get even better with Rice.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I think that they'll go from maybe being able to put up 30 points against a bad injured defense, to maybe being able to put up 30 points against a decent defense when they get Rashee Rice back. But this one's going to be fascinating. We know the Lions' offense is going to be fantastic. I don't think I'm on record as saying this because of our early season production debacles where we just could not record an episode. Those are sad times. But I didn't think that it was the Lions' offensive coordination that was the issue in their Week 1 loss to the Packers. I thought just a couple of key areas went wrong. The offensive line didn't look experienced because they weren't experienced yet. I thought the play calling was fine. The play calling looks good in Detroit, and it is enabling them to have big offensive days. I think that's going to keep up against Kansas City. Not going to say this is a toss-up, but I do think this is going to be a surprisingly close one.
I don't think it's going to be that close. I do think it's going to be a little bit closer because of the injuries, but ultimately I just think the Lions are a definitely good team who play smart and they don't make many mistakes.
Don't.
And when I look at the Chiefs, I see a team with talent, a great quarterback who's playing at the top of his game, but a defense that looks out of sorts. They don't really know what they're doing, and they look lazy in some aspects. And that's not going to fly against Detroit. The offense is going to get some, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Detroit's offense. I think Detroit wins by multiple scores, whether it's 42-30 or 28-17.
So you obviously saw the Trevor Lawrence play where
It's not just that, though. Any rep of George Karlaftis, any rep of the edge opposite him, the linebackers don't seem to be going. They're just not very good at pursuit right now. I don't know what it is.
Well, what I was going to say is I assume you watched Chris Jones on that.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were basing the analysis that the Chiefs' defense is playing slow and kind of lazy off that. Also, just what a huge moment for the Jaguars. I mean, that is a moment where most Jaguars teams of old, the choking Jaguars teams, are dead. Lawrence goes down. He doesn't stay up. He doesn't make the tough play and dig his way into the end zone.
Nope.
That felt huge for them. It wasn't just that it was a huge win. It was a mentally tough play. So you'll love to see that. But that really surprised me from Chris Jones. I know he was saying the right stuff over the offseason about how we're going to come back better and about how everyone's working hard. Now we got to see it. This is their chance to prove it against the Lions. And I guess maybe bet on the Lions at +2.5 because Vegas thinks the Chiefs have a pretty clear advantage in this one.
Yeah, I'm just going to take the Lions, yeah.
Me too. It is hard to bet against the Lions, either literally or figuratively
100%.
right now. They rarely make you pay for that.
Yeah. All right.
Monday night.
We got the Monday night games.
Yep,
Let's do it. We doing Bills-Falcons?
we are.
What do you think about this one?
Man, I think the Falcons honestly might win it.
Yeah.
The more I watch the Bills' offense, the less impressed I am with Joe Brady. I mean, he does some definitively nice things, especially the way that they incorporate motion out of stacked formations to get the ball outside quickly.
That's always been something that he does so well.
But at the same time, it feels really challenging, and I get that some of that is that your wide receivers aren't very good. Like, Keon Coleman doesn't seem to have taken a big step up. He's still the same inconsistent, occasionally jump ball winning Keon Coleman that we had last year. You're running Josh Palmer out there for the vast majority of your snaps. And Josh Allen has to put the team on his back a little bit, and
But
he has to
Kincaid,
show off the fantastic pocket presence.
Kincaid has taken a step forward, though. I'd like to
You're
see
right.
them use him more.
Kincaid has been really nice. Like, it felt like every time the Bills were moving the ball against the Patriots defense, where they should have been moving it a lot more consistently, it was Josh Allen extending the play, stepping up in the pocket, wearing an edge rusher, and staying up and firing the ball to Dalton Kincaid. They need other answers. James Cook has been really good as well. James Cook is one of those running backs that even if the run scheme isn't particularly good, even if it's blown up in the backfield, he's going to find a way to get you 3 yards. And so the two guys on this Bills offense who touch the ball most often are guys that make wrong look right. And that's my core thesis on why I'm not super impressed by Joe Brady. I think that this offense could be even more explosive than it already is. As for the Falcons, offense might be really bad. I mean, they have days when they're really bad. We saw 30-0 against the Falcons. Holy shit. That is the downside of this Falcons offense. But when they're on,
Yeah.
they can really be on. And this is a very beatable Bills defense. This is a Bills defense that's down TJ Sanders, that's down Matt Milano. We know what this Falcons offensive line is capable of as far as run blocking. We know what Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier can do. Against the Patriots, we saw Terrell Bernard getting absolutely smashed by climbing zone blockers. There's a lot of potential there. The Falcons can, score on 75% of their drives and force the Bills to play from behind for the majority of this one. Maybe you get a mistake. Maybe it's enough. I'm not going to predict that, though. Not against Josh Allen. I've got Bills 30-28.
Yeah, it's a tough game because the Bills defense. What's going on, man? Obviously, you have been on record many times being a big Christian Benford guy, as am I. I love Christian Benford. I think he's elite, but there's been a lot of talk about him not playing so good so far. I mean, I haven't loved it, but I don't think it's necessarily like a massive step down. What do you think?
Teron Johnson's been worse.
Yeah, well, that's true.
I think Benford's been fine. You wish he was better, but I don't think he's the core issue there.
Yeah, and that's why it's been a big issue. Is you watch Benford, you're like, yeah, it's not. He's been worse, but it feels like this entire unit's been worse. Teron Johnson has not been good, and it really goes to show how when he's playing well, how much he means to this defense. He's such a big part of their run defense. That nickel. That's why we talk about when we're talking about corners coming out of the draft. The small outside corner, you can't just shift him inside. You can't just say, oh, he'll play nickel. That's fine. You have to be able to defend the run. Teron Johnson's very good at defending the run. Hasn't been as physical this year. In coverage, he's been getting beat a little bit more than we're used to. How old is he now?
Oh, I have
30?
no idea.
It looks like he might have lost a step. And for a guy who's always been marginally athletic, that may be the thing that really knocks him down from superstar, like really great nickel, to only average to slightly below average. I think he'll get it a little bit back to the mean, but not quite as good.
He's 29, so you wouldn't expect it to be age regression, but you watch how he's losing, and it looks like it's age regression. I mean, maybe it's a lingering injury, like in the hamstring.
That's true.
That can slow you down, but it's been the range for him that's getting him picked on. So
the Bills' defense just been uncharacteristically bad. At what point do we take a look at Sean McDermott and say, what are you really doing
last year
for them? Yeah, we tried last year. Nobody's having it because you have Josh Allen. That's the tough part about having an elite quarterback, is that when the coaches aren't there, you can just ride off of a great quarterback. What does McDermott do for this team? I don't know.
Maybe this is an extreme take to have. I think Josh Allen is head and shoulders the most valuable player in the NFL. I think it's hard to argue against it. That is the take that I have.
Head and shoulders, I can't say that. I mean, you watched the Ravens offense last week versus the Ravens offense with Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry couldn't get anything going.
Derrick Henry couldn't get anything going with Lamar to start the year.
But it's a whole different kind of getting going. Like, I can't, I love Josh Allen, and we made the argument last year. We had him both as MVP, and it was because he was the most valuable player. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying I can't say he's not. I think Lamar's in that tier with him.
Fair enough. That's fair.
But I totally understand where you're coming from. This is a guy who does more for. I mean, you could definitely say he's one of the most valuable players in NFL history, and that's not a stretch. And I think that gets the point.
I agree on Sean McDermott. It's always hard to move on from the stable head coach when you're competing year over year because there's so much downside, and the upside is winning a couple more games, but maybe one of those games is the Super Bowl. and it's going to be tough to get over the hump with him. I don't remember ever experiencing a fear factor with this Bills defense. It never feels like they're the best at creating takeaways, and it never feels like they're the best at down-to-down consistency either. They always kind of fall into this middle area, and last year it's just been really at the bottom of their range of outcomes where they have a lot of splash play-oriented guys. I think of Cole Bishop, a guy who can occasionally get in front of a pass and pick it off, who can lay the wood coming downhill. It's kind of just been all the bad for Cole Bishop this season, and when a couple of those pieces go the wrong way, now you have the 24th best defense in the NFL.
And it's really tough because you look at that defensive line. Joey Bosa and Greg Rousseau both playing better than expected this year. Rousseau's having a heck of a season. So is Bosa. That's not really getting talked about as much because the secondary's been letting him down a little bit.
I know that we don't have a lot of time. We have 11 minutes until you got to get out of here. I want to go off on one more thing. I was watching Bill's defensive line tape, actually it was, and I watched Greg Rousseau, like you just mentioned. He had a pressure on the front side of a play-action jump set, and something just kind of clicked for me because I think I was coming off watching Mike Green. Like, oh, that not pretty way that you can win a rep where you're not really deploying a move. You're just being strong and long and physical and concise to shed your blocker. That's a completely valid way to be an impact pass rusher.
Yep.
Because that's not a luck thing. That's a you can do it or you can't do it thing. And it's not the sexiest way to win, but it really does matter.
And all the best rushers, that's how they win a majority of the time. And I heard Von Miller talk about this. He's just saying 90% of the time, the best pass rusher is just going to win with speed to power. That's just how they're going to win. And, you know, that 10% is what makes, like, if you can do speed to power, or if you have two guys who can do speed to power just as well, that 10% will make the difference in who's better, who's getting $35 billion versus who's getting $20 million. But you can be a very good pass rusher, just speed power, just being able to bull a guy over, having longer arms, being able to push him back. And Rousseau's damn good at that, and he's been developing the 10%. And not saying he's bad at that, but that 90%, he is just really good at that. Plus, fantastic run defender.
On a completely unrelated note, I am so excited to see Ruben Bain in the NFL.
Yeah. See, and that's when it was convenient that I saw that Von Miller clip like 2 days before I watched Ruben Bain. I was like, okay, it was fresh in my mind. I was like, okay, well, Ruben Bain, I don't know. He's not the same player, but yeah, he's going to be Von Miller. Book
Full
it.
comp.
Yep.
All
30
right.
pounds heavier.
We got one more game before we get out of here.
Oh, sorry. I have one stat that is, I saw the other day. Michael Penix is 1-4 when the opposing team scores more than 7 points. The Bills have yet to fail to score 7 points in a game that has been completed because they scored 3 in the Bengals-Bills in 2023 since 2021. Is it an ESPN-type stat? Yes. Does it matter? No.
How many games has Michael Penix played in where the opposition scored fewer than 7 points?
1, and he won that game. Or wait, no. He's 1-4 in games where the opposition has scored more than 7 points. Apologies.
Yeah, so how many has he played where they scored fewer than that? Because he's won more than one game in his career.
I know, and I was like, what? Maybe it's a fake stat. I don't know.
I mean, maybe teams just absolutely fall apart against
Because the Vikings
sometimes.
didn't score 7. They scored 6.
Mm.
Who else? He did. He only played 2 games last year, right?
No, he played like 4 or 5.
Oh, I thought it was only 2.
Was it?
It was the final 2 games.
If that was only 2 games, that was like a hell of a 2-game stretch from Michael Penix. He had 7 big-time throws in one of them.
I think the first one he
I remember watching him in more than 2, right? I remember the Commanders
This is
game.
also just a fake stat because I'm pretty sure they won against the Panthers last year, right? Or did the Panthers won that game? The Panthers won that game at the end of the season, the shootout. The Panthers won that.
Yes, I remember that game. Oh, my God. Bryce was fantastic in that one. Last year, he had the Giants, the Commanders, and the Panthers.
Okay.
Those were like his actual starts. He had garbage time snaps and some other ones. And this year he's had Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Carolina, and Washington.
What
So
was
he's
the
had 7 games in his career.
What was the results of those games? Hold on, let me pull them up. I'm just curious. It was the which were the games? Giants, Commanders, and Panthers. They beat the Giants 34-7. They lost to the Commanders. They lost to the Panthers. He has only beaten one team when they've scored more than 7 points, and that was the Commanders last week, 34-27. So credit to him, or 2 weeks ago. Maybe he'll do it against the Bills. We'll see.
It's going to be, yeah, tough to hold the Bills to under 7, but
Yeah.
I guess it's what they got to do.
That defense, you got a job.
All right, we got one last game. Bears at Commanders. Tell me why Chicago's going to lose this one.
They're not.
God damn it.
No, they are, but oh man, they're gonna be the fail Mary, or is that they're gonna be so mad. They're gonna come back with a vengeance, and I think they're gonna lose because the Commanders are playing great ball right now. Last week against the Chargers was a defensive masterclass from this front seven. They were just overwhelming this offensive line, and I don't think that'll change much against the Bears. A line that's been very easily overwhelmed. Caleb, obviously, young quarterback. It's tough for him to make the checks against the blitzes and really recognize everything that's being thrown his way. This is a new offensive line playing together, an offensive line that just looks like a lot of guys out of sorts who are talented but don't really know how to play together. And I think they're going to really struggle against Dan Quinn and this Commanders front. Daniels really putting those concerns that we had the first few weeks to bed. Has he been a little bit inaccurate? Yes. Maybe he's having the slightest bit of a sophomore slump. Maybe it's just a regression to the mean. He's still a damn good quarterback. I think he'll piece up Chicago defense that has been really inconsistent and overall just not that good this year. And Caleb will have just a tough time getting any points. I think this will be a clean Chicago win. But I'm not going to count out that the Bears come out so mad they win this game.
Even though I spent like all year betting against the Commanders and was baffled after they won game after game and eventually made it to the championship round against Philadelphia, I do still really like Washington, and they are the type of team that I root for to succeed. So as I've been watching the tape this season and just seeing how well that defensive line is playing, getting back to the glory days in like 2023 when they had, that would have been Montez Sweat and Deron Payne, who they still have. Who are the other? Chase Young. Who's the other really good defensive tackle? Jonathan Allen.
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Oh, yeah.
It's back to being a fear factor. Now, last week, some of that was going up against an absolutely hopeless Chargers offensive line, but it's telling when you're getting pressure on like 70% of snaps. That has been a major strength for them this season. Even Johnny Newton putting in some good work on pass rush downs. Bobby Wagner is still somehow underappreciated. He's not great against the pass at this phase because he's not athletic. There's just nothing you can do to run the ball at him. Absolutely lights out. And when you're running DeAndre Swift up the middle, I think that that's huge if you can come up with a few extra stuffs because DeAndre Swift picks the wrong hole. As for Jaden Daniels, he looked back to form last game against the Chargers. And I think what's so encouraging is he got better throughout it. He had a couple sprayed throws early on that could have been costly for the Commanders because that was a big comeback win for them where it was all Chargers in the first half and then the Commanders put the pedal to the metal later on. He looked a little uncomfortable on a few scrambles. Then he settled in. I think that that's the Jaden Daniels we get. It was also his first game coming back from a lower body injury. When you introduce his legs at 100% back into the equation, that is a tough ask for the Bears. Yeah, against a defense that's underperformed for most of the season. I think the Bears will be in it because I think Ben Johnson is that good of an offensive coordinator. One of the very few coaches in the NFL where he can truly draw up a play where a guy is wide-ass open and you know where you are throwing and all you have to do is execute an easy throw. That is so rare, and that is what the Chicago Bears have there. I think Caleb Williams is good enough to do that. I still doubt whether or not Caleb Williams is good enough to win the really tough games mostly by himself.
Yeah, I don't know. He has gotten better this year. There's no doubt about it. Dealing with pressure, well, it's still not great. It's miles better than last year. But the accuracy issues, the mechanical issues, just not setting his feet on half the downs, it appears. He's kind of just leaning back on some of his throws, not stepping into it. Just doesn't look great. So, yeah, you're getting better, but how is he going to get through those issues? That stuff hasn't seen much improvement, though some of the other problem areas have. So I really want him to succeed, and I hope he does. And I think Ben Johnson can help him. But this would be a good game to see him kind of take another step forward.
Definitely. One more thing. Well, actually, two more things I think I want to talk about before we get out of here. No Terry McLaurin in this one. They haven't missed him quite as much as I thought they would. That's not a slight to Terry McLaurin by any means. Deebo Samuel looks rejuvenated to me. That really caught me by surprise.
He was so good last week. They were hitting him in the screen games like they always do, but he was amazing over the intermediate range of the field. Like he was just really great route runner last week. I mean, it's just something we haven't seen from Debo since 2 years ago. Really crisp, clean routes, finding the space and making sure that you keep that separation, that initial separation. He was just doing it. He was wide open over the middle of the field all the time, and Daniels was hitting him. He was reading the coverage, finding him. That connection is elite. And I know for a fact that you want to talk about your boy, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt.
Yep, of course. That's my last notice. Dude should not have been a 7th-round pick. I don't really understand why he fell, because you watch him on tape, and it was clear that, like, this is a mid-round type of player. And I can't help but wonder if some of the NFL teams didn't really do their homework on what his whole ineligibility situation was. I mean, I don't have time to get into it, nor do I fully remember what happened, but it was something with a number he used when he was at a non-FBS school. I wish I could remember what non-FBS school that was. It had nothing to do with him. I think it was his coaches submitted the wrong information, and so he couldn't play in 2024, and he was treated like a non-prospect because of that. I mean, I didn't know who this guy was up until about 3 weeks before the draft. He was a very late watch, and now he's the starter for the Commanders. And you know what? Austin Eckler wasn't terrible pre-Achilles tear. I mean, that's still a tragic injury. Krosky-Merritt looks even better. They're getting him outside. They're finding creative ways to get him the ball in the perimeter, and he looks twitched up. That is a big find for the Commanders.
It just seems like every time that in last week's game that a defender approached him, they wouldn't get the tackle, and you knew they weren't going to get the tackle every single time. He was a missed tackle force machine. I did not go and look at his missed tackles force on PFF, but it had to be high last week.
He had a lot of, like, true missed tackles for us, probably, like, 3 or 4, but also just a quick step in the ground in denying the angle where the guy doesn't dive at you because, I mean, he never really had a chance to dive at you, and now you've given up the outside, and now you're running around the edge for a 20-yard touchdown. Yeah. It was huge.
He's so twitchy, and you just can't really guess where he's going to go.
All right. We managed to get through an entire show in less than 2 hours.
That was impressive. Will it happen again? Probably not.
We will dial in the pacing. I actually think that most shows will be longer than today's shows, and I'm looking forward to that. I do like the idea of the timer. I got to make sure I actually start it every time and that I actually have the thing turned up, but I don't think we exceeded 7 minutes on any of these segments.
No, I don't think. Maybe on Bills Falcons, but other than that, I think we were good.
And on Bills Falcons, some of that stuff was only tangentially related to
exactly.
Bills Falcons.
We got a little carried away.
But, that's what the podcast is about in the first place.
100%.
Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we have places to be that don't involve talking about football. As always, stay hard.